Okay, in order to put that deflector plate, I'm just putting this inlet pipe to see a bit which bolt are going to be slightly longer. So the shorter bolts are for these holes, as you can see, this one here, as well as this one here. So we skip the two in the middle. Then we do the first one on the far end here. Then we skip one. And then we do these three. So the other ones are going to be longer. They're going to be for the holding this pipe. Okay, so in the quest to replace O-rings, we have to change this one here that goes in the oil pump. We start by removing the old one. Then we make sure that the new one matches. Seems pretty much like it to me. Of course, the old one sometimes got a bit of a deformation and because of the wear and the heat. Like it's not round anymore, it's more like a flat surface here on the outside. Now it's in place. I'm gonna have to put a bit of oil in order to insert it. It's in. And we have to remember that these bolts, the 3 bolts for bolting that thing, are slightly longer because it's a bit thicker. Just inserting those, make sure that the hole will line up once I start torquing this thing. Seems to be E10 socket. Let's just pick up the slack. You can use the mark that the bolts had left on this plate to line it up exactly how it was before. So the torque is 35. Torque I found. Again, check on your end. I found 35 inch pound inch, and then you had 90 degrees. Okay, then it's going to be time to add 90 degree. Challenge 1 is going to be this one here. The others are not so bad. In order to torque this one, we're going to use the angle indicator to hit that surface here. That seems to be the best place. And then you mark them. Mark all the bolts that are torqued so you don't lose your reference, you know where you are. In order to try to help the situation, I'm gonna fill this pipe here with oil, engine oil. Then I will turn the crank, maybe like a turn or 2 or 3, so that it just barely start to leak oil. It's gonna leak. It should leak from the oil housing, oil filter housing, just so that I'm trying to remove the air from the pump, like to prime it. I know in the end we're gonna rotate the engine upside down once this is gonna be ready, but I'm gonna take a chance it might help. Not sure, but this is how I'm gonna do it anyways. If you see some dirt in there, you can remove it. Like there's some rubber in there. You have to turn the crankshaft clockwise in the sense of the where the tensioner is, because the tensioner is not to be on the side where you have the effort or the tension. You can put also a tip of oil underneath here where the pistons are. Try to get the whole thing lube. Oh, success. Oil is dripping from the oil filter, so that's enough for now. I would say it doesn't take much. I'm not even sure I made a turn. So we will replace the oil level sensor gasket. To do so, we have to remove these 3 nuts, sorry. You can tell it's studs, but these studs stay with the nut. Doesn't really matter. It goes along with this at the bottom. Okay, that seems to have worked. It's a matter of not breaking the sensor and the surface, but it's kind of stuck to it. So here it is. This is this orange thing here that we have to change. That's the seal. We're also going to try to clean this surface a bit with some brake cleaner. So the idea was to take a flat punch, small flat punch, and insert it just underneath the flat surface in between the aluminum of the oil pan. Just gently tap it so it kind of, because it's thick, because the seal is old and it kind of melt down and everything a bit. So I'm going to scrape a bit the outside with the rigid scraper, just a bit. Time to remove the seal. I'd say it was kind of due to be changed. We'll just put the new in. So what I found is 80 pound-inch for the 3 bolts. Done deal. Very important to clean the surface before you put that sensor on, because there's some kind of rust and it makes a thickness. So as I said, I use a rigid scraper. Got to be careful not to make notches though on the aluminum. So you try to clean this thing as best as you can. It's pretty straightforward. Then you clean the surface underneath, all around, especially that the engine's has been upside down. And then you put the gasket on it. There's only one way this thing can go. The notches that go around like that, it's on the gearbox side. You cannot go wrong. The other one is straight. So now it's going to be a matter of removing the old gasket from the pan, making sure the surface is clean as well. Then lining up the holes very carefully, sitting the pad on top. And then it's going to be a puzzle to figure out which bolt go where, but it's mostly short bolts on the side. It's more on that surface here. There it was around or something. There were longer bolts. The old gasket is kind of stuck to the pan, so we'll go here with a screwdriver, trying to gotta be careful with the surface though. That's it. That works. Just once you got a corner. There's a part of rubber and there's metal inside. Once you are able to get a bit of a grip on the metal, it's gonna be able to go away easily. I'll show you this way. So that's the old one. So now a matter of cleaning it thoroughly with brake cleaner. If there's a need, also use the scraper. Once it's mostly clean, you want to check for bumps. If there are bumps, you want to scrape them. Okay, so once you line up the gasket properly and you clean the surface of the pan very thoroughly, make sure it's empty inside from any debris, and then it's time to put this thing on. Try to line it up. The oil pump is on the lowest side of the pan. Let's put it this way. This seems pretty well lined up. Now it's bolt time. Okay, there's 3 different length of bolts in the set. There are 7 very long bolts. 3 bolts are shorter, let's say mid-size, and the rest of it are short bolts. I think the kit is overkill. I think it's not for I think it's not a kit only for that engine. It seems to me like it's a kit for several engines. If you're looking for the E socket for that thing is E12. So we're gonna start putting some bolts just to make sure that the thing is lined up properly. There is some white Teflon on the treads. This is made like that. It's to help for preventing bolts to unscrew. So right now we're looking for putting bolts very far apart. It's going to help making sure this thing is lined up. Like in the 4 corners example. So what you're doing is before you sit the pan on it, you make sure that the surface of it is clean. Inside you clean for all the debris that could be there, and then you put all the bolts in. Just you put like in the corners, just trying to make sure that that thing is lined up properly. The narrow side of the pan goes on the pump side. There's 3 different length of bolts in the not this one, forget about that. In the bolt sets, bolt kit, the longer ones go on the far hand where you got the transmission, like the round on the transmission side. So it's just a matter really of putting the bolt on and just picking up the slack, the loose. The white thing on the treads is some Teflon. It comes like that. It helps to for the bolt to not loosen by the vibration. Okay, so you got very long bolts and you got mid-sized bolt, right? The very long, obviously the very longs, they go right here in the middle, which is higher, and the 3 mid-sized bolts, they go here, here, and here. So the kit's got too many bolts. The long bolts you got 3, 4, 5 too many. Doesn't matter. This is probably a kit that fits several models. Okay, time to torque the bolts. First level of torque is 71 pound-inch. That's what I found. Again, check on your hand. I'll start with the middle. So one hand, the other side. then moving this side here and there, and the other side here and there, and going further away like that every time. So we're looking for 71 pound-inch. Okay, when torquing the bolts, I had two bolts that were having like a weird feeling. You know when you tighten it with the tool, with the wrench or the ratchet, and then well, actually with the torque wrench, and then you feel like it's kind of slipping and it doesn't raise in strength. If you go through such a feeling, I would say stop that, remove the bolt, and put it back on. It's because the Teflon on the threads is like getting away. So I had that on two bolts that took them out, and that worked just fine after that instead of stripping them. So now I'm gonna redo the same kind of pattern and torque the shorter bolts, all the front here and the side here and on the way back. These are 60 degree that need to be added on. Once the 60 degree is added, we'll put a mark on each bolt with a marker, so I don't lose the where I'm up to. Also, before that, all the bolts, once I had torqued them to 71 pound-inch, I recheck all of those to make sure some of them were needed some more. As for the longer bolts here, all of those, the mid-size and the longer one, it's needed to add 180 degree to be added to those. Once this is all done, the oil pan is going to be in place, and this is going to be done. Okay, now it's a good time to replace the oil plug washer. So we're removing the plug. Should not drip because it's in an angle. Hopefully it won't drip. So you replace always the washer for that. Make sure it's clean on the surface. Also you clean underneath the bolt head. So that's supposed to be torqued at 221 pound-inch. 221 pound-inch.